Hello everyone! They were the first job to be added after the release of A Realm Reborn. In patch 2.4 we got the rogue class, which led to the ninja job. We have already explored the story of the rogue, so now it's time to see the story of the ninja in A Realm Reborn. This is the leveling range from 30 to 50 and gives us a great introduction to this fascinating class. If you like Final Fantasy lore guides and news, make sure to subscribe. And if you want to be an amazing person, interact with this video, comment, like, or even share it. It really helps with our algorithmic overlords. But for now, let's meet the ninja. On Hydaelyn, there are 3 main land masses, and the one we know best is the 3 great continents. They are situated on our star's northern hemisphere, spreading far from the west to the east. These 3 continents are Aldenard, where Eorzea is located, Othard far to the east, and then Ilsabard between them, where Garlemald resides. The ninja trace their origin to the small island nation of Hingashi, right east of the continent of Othard, a war-torn area in the past. It led to the development of the art of ninjutsu. And while scholars can't quite pinpoint the origin, they've instead focused on the origin of the different ninja clans, as tradition and beliefs can vary slightly between each one of them. In the recent years, war returned to the Far East. The land of Doma was invaded by the Garleans, who overtook it. This was followed by great civil unrest and rebellion, and finally, some refugees from Doma coming to Eorzea. And with the art of ninjutsu being spread around Othard, it is no surprise that many of the shinobi, which is the eastern word for ninja, have made their way to Eorzea as part of the refugees. We, on the other hand, started our journey as a rogue in the city-state of Limsalominsa, a guild to help regulate the underbelly of the city. The rogues hold up the code which has been agreed by the old pirate factions of the city, a thing I explained better in my video on the rogue story. One day, as we're at the sisters, we meet with Jack, who tells us some shifty individuals have been spotted around Wineport lately. As far as we know, they're not codebreakers, but we also don't quite know who they are or what their business is. And knowing everybody's business is kinda our business, so we are to meet with Underfoot and gather some intel. Underfoot is of course pleased as punch to see us. After all, we worked well together before, and we're both Lalas, which makes this very nice and gives us far less neck strain than when dealing with other races. He tells us what he gathered so far, which is mostly that he has seen some peculiar people that claim to be from the Southern Islands, but something is really off about their story. So far, the only thing we know then is that they did definitely not come from the Southern Islands. But where did they then come from? As we discuss how to proceed, there is suddenly a scream nearby. We rush over, finding a maid in panic near 3 knocked out bandits. As we question her, she tells us she just came to town for supplies, but then she was accosted by these 3 drunkards trying to rob her. When they realized she had nothing, they turned on one another, and now they all lay there knocked out. We let her go, but us and Underfoot agree that this is some high-class bullshit. The knocked out drunkards have no signs of fistfight. Something is seriously off. So we do what we rogues do best. We follow her. On the road we find more bodies, but with closer examination, these are not drunkards or peasants. In fact, they're not even locals. As we are examining them, one suddenly stirs. He's nearly dead, but before he passes away, he begs us to take a peculiarly dark stone. He was supposed to deliver it to Master Oboro and Lady Tsubame, and he wants us to do it for him now. We agree, taking the stone, though we don't know who these 2 people are, but we're not about to let a dying man think his final wish is not going to be fulfilled. Deciding we will deal with this later, we keep on following the maid, who we spot not too far away hiding behind a tree, surrounded by more knocked out or potentially dead people. So either she's up to something or there is a fistfight play going around. We approach her, but before we can ask her, there is a voice calling out. She hides behind a tree, as if you could hide her from me. And here we get to meet Karasu Kanshi, a shinobi with a flair for the dramatic. In fact, it kinda reminds me of Majima from the Yakuza series. It just gives me the same vibes. Well, Karasu is heading towards the maid, asking if she truly thought she could hide from him by just putting on those rags. We step up to defend her from this really odd man, only for him to tell us she is no innocent maid, as she needs no protection. We glance back only to realize she is gone. In fact, she has dashed around the tree, grabbed her blades, and is heading to attack Karasu. In turn, Karasu gets ready, but both are stopped by a surprise shuriken thrown on the ground between them, signaling the arrival of Oboro. He and Karasu are the same age and hail from the same village, but now seems to find themselves on the opposite sides of the war. As Oboro arrives, it seems Karasu has gotten enough of our presence here. He throws his own shuriken at us, but we are rogues, so we dodged it. Just barely, but we did dodge it, and we look pretty neat doing it. Karasu is immediately interested in us, finding us suddenly to be a possible object of fun. But for now, he is off, him and his bat. I didn't mention it before, but there seems to always be a bat following this guy around. We will see it all through the quest line, usually indicating he is somewhere watching us. So even if I don't mention it, just assume there is always a bat there somewhere. With him gone, we get to know the maid and Oboro. She is surprised we managed to tail her, but Underfoot comes and explains that we are rogues. This is our specialty. She might be able to disguise herself well, but we are trained in spotting when a man is more than they seem. Now we need to know what they are and what they're up to so we can make sure it isn't breaking the code. Oboro recognizes who we are right away. We are the rogues Lady Yukiri spoke of, the woman who led them here and has taken on working with the guild. Oboro quickly apologizes for not seeking us out previously, but explains that he is Oboro and the maid is Tsubame. They hail from a Doman village and they are what it is called in their own tongue, shinobis. We would refer to that as a ninja. Oboro tells us that Karasu was a part of the same village and their people fought against the Imperials of Garlemald who reign over Doma now. Karasu betrayed his people and became the chief of the covert operatives. Oboro and Tsubame are here under the order of their village elders to kill Karasu for his betrayal. Well, they do not seem to be breaking the code, and Underfoot is quite impressed. As the three talk about the laws of many of the shinobi, we suddenly remember the one on the road. He asked us to bring the rock to these two, so we quickly dig it out of our pocket and hand it over. But as we do, it starts glowing brightly. This is a soulstone, and now it calls out to us. We are fated to become a ninja like them. Oboro gives us an offer. If we agree to share our knowledge of Yorcia, he will train us in the art of ninjutsu. And while Underfoot is sad to see us off, he's pretty adamant he would also agree to do it if he had been given the offer back in the day. Tsubame is surprised by this all. After all, we are not of the village. But Oboro points out that they are so few now. They need to recruit, even outside the village. So if you like to take the offer, we are to head to the storehouse in Raincatcher Gully, where our training will begin. We reach the storehouse and get inside, finding a training room for the ninjas. There is a code we must give at the door. When the guard says Ayame, we are to respond with Kaede. An interesting fact is these words actually do have a meaning in the Final Fantasy universe. In Final Fantasy XI, Ayame is a samurai in the game and Kaede is her younger sister. Inside the warehouse is the base of operation for the shinobi. Now it might not seem like much, but this inconspicuous location gives a great advantage point to observe the coming and going of Karasu's men, without attracting their attention. But now it's time for us to start our training under Oboro. We learn the ninja and the rogues have a similar base, but the ninja adds on the power called Mudra. These are hand gestures that work with three forms of energy named Ten, Chi, and Jin, or in our tongue we would call them Heaven, Earth, and Man. These hand gestures can be combined to draw out different effects. To start with, we will only learn one, though first we are given a word of warning that has been passed down from master to apprentice for generations. The shinobi's blade and mind are one. The weak mind gives rise to a weak blade. The false mind gives rise to a false blade, but a mind that is strong and true, that blade will know no equal. This teaches us that we must always keep a presence of mind, else our blade could just as well be made out of grass. We take this to heart as we start learning our first mudra, the Mudra of Tan, or heaven in our tongue. We are to learn to form it and use it to cast a flaming star, which is a form of shuriken, a really big shuriken by the way. We head outside to practice under the watchful eye of Oboro. We match the mudra with our rogue skill, impressing him, and for our lesson, we teach him how to bow in the Orsian way. We will have to work on that. After some further training on our own, we return to Oboro, who is pleased with all our progress. And so are we with his very balanced and good Eorsian bow. Oboro tells us it's time to learn our second mudra, Chi, or earth in our tongue. And we are to learn how to combine it with the Mudra of Heaven for combat. With these two mudras known, we have the option of two new attacks. If we use the Mudra Tan Chi, we will summon lightning to strike our foe. But if we use the Mudra Chi Tan, we will have massive fireball explode around us. A very handy thing when fighting multiple foes. We practice these techniques with Oboro once more, and when he's pleased with our progress, he tells us we are now what is referred to as Chunin, which is the student who has mastered two mudra. At this time, it is traditional for them to go to a waterfall outside the village with the master for some intense training. Oboro sadly cannot take us to the waterfall of Doma. Still, he has explored the local map and found a place known as Fool's Falls, where our training will continue. We arrive there in the pouring rain, where we get our first lesson on the Far Eastern culture. Different from Eorzea, where we worship the 12, in the East they believe their gods, or kami as they are called, are all around them, in the trees, the soil and the water, and that is why the lesson traditionally takes place at a waterfall. It is to train the student's mind in being calm and focused, as if we mess up the order of our mudras, could just as well lose our battle. Though it also gives us a humiliating bunny on our head, exposing our mistake to all our allies and friends. So focus, you will want to focus to not have the bunny of shame. I should know, I have it a lot. As Oboro is giving us the lesson, no other than Karasu shows up. Because of course he would, and he's just as odd as before. He refers to himself as the hero and claims he postponed 2 assassinations to come meet us. At least we could do is offer him some tea and whatever Eorsians take with it. Then he tells us that he knew we would be here because of tradition, giving a vague warning about how following tradition can lead to repeating the mistakes of their forebears. Oboro is done with this, informing us today will be a practical lesson, and Karasu is thrilled. In fact, he even gives us a quick refresher on our new abilities, the Alton Lightning and the Cat on Flames, which one is for single target and which is for multiple foes. And he fights us along with summoning up several other opponents, giving us a really great practical lesson. And then Karasu is off, as we finish off some of his minions, leaving us honestly back to train, but very, very confused. Oboro does apologize for putting us in danger. He should have expected this attack. Though, honestly, it was nice to get to try out my new tricks on proper opponents. We head back to the warehouse, where we speak further, as it seems Karasu has taken an interest in us, and that has Oboro really worried. So he tells us a story of their past. As I said before, Oboro and Karasu hail from the same village, and Oboro is here to kill him for betraying said village. The two grew up together, being the same age. They even trained in the art of ninjutsu together, under Master Gakkai. At the time, it was clear Karasu had an innate talent in the craft. Oboro would give his all, yet struggled to grasp the techniques that Karasu just mastered with ease. The two grew very close. Oboro viewed him as a brother, but that all changed the day Doma Castle fell to the Garleans. On that day, Oboro saw his friend lay broken. His friends lay broken, bleeding and often dead. As he looked over the carnage of familiar figures, he saw Karasu in the distance, fleeing to the hills. He then realized that Karasu was no longer one of them. He was a demon, a betrayer, and Oboro believed that Karasu was the one to help the Garleans to kill their master. as Master Gyakai was not just killed, but his body was mangled, his face shattered beyond all recognition. But he does not quite understand what has just happened now, because Karasu could have easily killed us back at the Fool's Falls, but he chose not to. In fact, he probably could have killed Oboro and his group earlier, as Karasu knows the lands of Eorzea, while Oboro is stumbling around as a stranger. But now he believes perhaps we can change it because Karasu doesn't know us, and perhaps our unpredictability will give us an opening. After thinking on the matter, we decide there's only one way to progress. We will help them capture the traitor, or kill him. So, as we return, Oboro sets us to work, as now is time we have a proper training in the field. It's time for our first lesson in assassination, which is so exciting. So, we must find our target. Oboro tells us that the captain of the Bloody Executioner, Captain Grimwell, has just narrowly evaded several attempts on his life in the recent days, and undoubtedly, he was attacked by Karasu and his men, as a shinobi will not abandon their mission except by death, and very few are foolish enough to attack the Bloody Executioners. So it's not a matter of if, but when and where Karasu will strike again. To find where Karasu will attack, we must find the captain. Now usually this would be tricky, but it seems the captain has a lieutenant named Wolfstan, who apparently fancies the hot springs. So together we decide to head to Camp Bronze Lake, as that is where Eorzean around Upper Lanoska like to go bathe in the healing hot springs. Arriving there, we find Oboro in civilian clothing, seeming slightly sad. He tells us how he was surprised about how many enjoyed the bath. It reminds him of home, making him long for it. So the poor guy is just really homesick. But there is no time for that right now. We got a job to do. We find a lookout spot on a nearby house where we can scan the area and watch the guests. And there we spot Wolfstan entering the baths with two of his crew. Now Oboro is quick to decide on the next action. All we need is bamboo straws and we can listen in on the group's talk. Thankfully, Tsubame explains that bamboo might stick out quite a bit in these lands. Instead, she and us will go undercover. All we need is a change of clothes and some strong drinks. After donning some swimsuit, hers quite a bit more revealing than ours, we grab the drinks and make sure one of the bottles is laced with some encouragement to loosen the lieutenant's tongue. Tsubame will step in with the first bottle, which is untainted, just to get him started. Then we will approach with the tempered one. Stepping into the warm water, we join the pirates for some fun and drinks. It is honestly quite nice. I could see myself coming here again, with preferably less pirates that time. For now, we just get Wolfstan nice and drunk till he starts spilling everything. We learn the captain is in Aleport. Apparently the captain likes to be there alone so he can concentrate on his work, giving his men a day off, but also making him mighty vulnerable for assassinations. This is therefore the perfect time for Karasu to strike, and for us to catch him in the act. After a quick change of clothes, we hurry to Aleport, finding Karasu and his men already there. Hell, he even put his bats all over the place, making it really a pain in the rear to sneak past everyone. Still, we make our way through the area till we reach Karasu, who is very surprised by our sudden appearance. He is not pleased by this development, even less when Oboro shows up too. We end up fighting Karasu, but he runs away before we can kill him or stop him. Again, our target has slipped away, so back to the storehouse we go. As we leave frustrated, on the hills above Aleport stands a man once known as Master Gyakai. He is no more dead than Karasu is. He scolds Karasu for his failure, telling him quite clearly that if Karasu fails again in his assassination, he will face consequences, and I have a feeling he means death. This does not seem to be the healthiest of relationships. Back at the storehouse, we return to training. This time, Oboro believes it's time we get our own shinobi outfit. He has taken the liberty to have clothes sent from the village with the help of the Rogues Guild. All we have to do is just go fetch the outfit from the porter. We hurry over eagerly to get that outfit so we can look just like the other shinobi. And we are led into a trap. The porter has been forced to hand over the outfit, and the Imperial Shinobi was waiting for us to take us down. He fails, and the other guy runs away, only to be taken down by Karasu, who is mighty unimpressed by him. It turns out Karasu is the one who got our outfit. He tells us we aren't ready for such a garb. We are yet just a little chick, and thankfully he's here now, a true master ready to take us under his wing. And the method seems to be an extensive scavenger hunt for our armor. Then we are to return for the fifth and final piece from him. We get the locations and quickly make our way around, taking down the Imperial Shinobi, discard each chest before hurrying back. But Karasu is no longer here. Instead, Oboro has come over looking for us. We have been gone far longer than expected for a simple fetch job. And nearby, there is a letter from Karasu. It says, "Welcome back, Malisity. And hello to you as well, Oboro. I left the present I promised on your doorstep. That's a shame that you weren't home." This is not good. It seems Karasu has found our hideout. Oboro realizes that if we are to save our friends, our training must be escalated quickly. So he teaches us his final mudra here and now, Jin, the Mudra of Man. And then he half yells the directions as we hurry back to the warehouse. With the third mudra, we can now do a variety of different abilities by combining the three together. In fact, we have now 4 new techniques available to us. An ice attack, using Tenjin or Chijin, a wind attack from Jin Chi Ten or Chi Jin Ten, an earth ability with Chen Jin Chi or Jin Ten Chi, and the water ability with Ten Chi Jin or Chi Ten Jin. I wish they had gone a little bit slower about introducing all these new abilities. It felt really rushed, was fit with the story, but was not the greatest experience for me as a player. After getting all these new attacks told to us in mere minutes, we rushed to the hideout. There we find the gatekeeper injured but alive. Tsubame went down the road and we follow her quickly, where we find her injured. As we approach her, we are in turn approached by Karasu. Oboro is furious and Karasu seems thrilled about it. Now he feels it's time to truly fight, to fight till the death. But even with assistance, Karasu loses, ending up injured on the bridge. Before his execution, though, Karasu ends up telling Oboro the horrid truth. Their master is alive. Karasu didn't betray the village. After he saw what was meant to be their master's body, something had just felt off. So he had left the village seeking answers, only to stumble upon their master. Kakai had grabbed him, giving Karasu the choice to join him or die. And well, Karasu wasn't very eager to die, so he joined him instead. Oboro is stunned, and Karasu takes the chance to stand up, give his final words, asking Oboro to not go dying on him, and then he jumps into the air and blows himself up. That was unexpected. We stand behind stunned by this development. Honestly, I will miss him after all. You don't meet this kind of crazy every day, and I quite like him. Oboro is just as stunned. We head back to the warehouse together to tend to Tsubame, but this day is feeling really off. We take some time to recover and Oboro makes a choice. He believes his job is done, so it's time to return home. But first he wants to meditate, so he leaves us behind with Tsubame. Bee is not pleased with being left behind and tells us to instead go look out for Oboro. He's in turmoil and she wants someone to look after him. We of course heartily agree, heading out to Fool's Falls, where we know he's meditating. There we speak about his thoughts, and he asks us who we fight for. We tell him we fight for our friends, our companions, our people, and it seems Oboro does the same. He has never questioned tradition, customs, or missions, but now, after this final fight against Karasu, his final word, he can't shut down that inner voice. He needs to go face the truth about his master, but he will do it alone. Now we know this is a stupid plan. And so does Tsubame, who was listening from a distance. Thankfully, we are pretty experienced with stupid plans by now, having encountered them in some other stories, for example in the Paladin tale. So we just speak to Tsubame and we both agree to to head out together and help Opero with the fight. We arrive at Candlekeep Quay, and there we do find Opero confronting Master Gekkai. He wants to know why he would betray the village, and Gekkai just tells him he saw the Garlean Empire as stronger master than the Domans, so he changed side, which kept the village safe, making it one of the few villages that weren't just erased off the map. And Opero is disgusted. The role as shinobi was to protect the Domans, even if it meant dying, not betray them just because the other team was stronger. But Gekkai has no remorse. He just mocks Opero for his foolishness, and for his idea of coming here and now for revenge. But Gekkai didn't realize he wasn't alone. And Opero didn't know so either, because he made a stupid plan. Luckily for him, Tsubame and us are here to help him get the revenge he wanted. So we fight Master Gekkai, who is a formidable opponent. In fact, he seems to possess knowledge of a fourth mudra. Still he falls. And as we quietly mourn Karasu after our victory, he just shows up. Perhaps no surprise, he did learn from the master of pretending to be dead, so we probably should have expected this. Still, here he is, ready to deliver the final piece of our armor. He says he doesn't like leaving tasks unfinished, and we do appreciate it because we were missing that vital chess piece. Opero begs him to return to Doma with them, come back to the village so they can explain everything. But Karasu knows it won't work. He was not a traitor to begin with, but he did follow one. And in all honesty, he doesn't want to be a shinobi anymore. He throws a soulstone to Opero, asking him to take it to the village. Tell them Karasu Redbeak is dead. It will allow him the freedom to choose his own path from now, and for Opero to finish his task. Opero does agree, but he makes a promise that one day he will change the village, that one day Karasu can come back home. Karasu is surprised, and promises to come beat his ass if he fails to do just that. And so the two part ways as we head back to the warehouse. We don our new armor and celebrate that the task is finally done. We have grown greatly, and so has Opero, Tsubame, and even Karasu. Wearing the shinobi garb, being a full-fledged ninja now, we can only hope that one day we get to see the distant land of Doma. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm hoping my audio settings were pretty good through this video. I've been trying to set up my mic better so the audio is crisper. But I have a really bad ear for audio, so I don't know if it's just absolute shit. So please let me know down in the comments. For now, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have a lovely day.